I'm Ashley, 16 years old, standing in the entryway of my parents' spotless house with an acceptance letter in my hand. The floors shine brightly. The air smells like fresh flowers. I take a deep breath and think, this is the moment. They'll finally be happy for me. Mom, I got accepted into the car repair program, I say with a big smile. But she does not smile back. She steps closer, takes out a pretty lace cloth, and wipes my clean face with total dislike, as if I am something dirty. Before I share exactly how long I survived on my own and how great it felt to show her she was wrong, leave a comment and tell me where you are listening from tonight. The house smelled like fresh flowers and old wealth, the kind of wealth that stays quiet and does not brag. My mother, Elizabeth, stood near the stairs, her body straight and stiff, her face showing clear disappointment that she did not even hide. I had just told them. I had just said it out loud. Car repair, not college for law, not business studies, oil, metal, and motors. My father, Robert, did not look up from his phone, but Elizabeth took 2 steps toward me. She did not shout. She did not cry. Instead, she pulled a pretty lace cloth from her sleeve. With a look of total disgust, she reached out and wiped my face. There was nothing on it. My face was clean, but to her, I was already dirty. You won't make it even a week out there on your own, sweetie, she said softly but sharply. Girls like you don't make it without our help. Then she turned away. The door did not just shut. It closed hard with a sound that stayed in my mind. I stood on the front steps looking at the wood patterns, realizing for the first time that quiet can hurt more than loud words. Before I share exactly how long I survived and how great it felt to show her she was wrong, leave a comment and tell me where you are listening from tonight. I always enjoy knowing I'm not the only one who had to start a new life from nothing. 9 years. That's how long it took to turn that hard door close into my own successful business. Today, I own the top classic car repair shop in Charlotte. I have customers waiting 6 months and people who send their cars from other countries just so I can work on the engines. But I did not begin at the top. I started in the back seat of an old 20-year-old car parked behind a diner open all night. Those first months were not full of brave wins. They were slow and tough, full of shame. I learned fast that the world does not care about what you could do someday. It only cares if you have a place to live. I slept with a tool for protection under my blanket, waking up often to the noise of trucks driving by. My neck always hurt. My skin felt dirty all the time, no matter how much I washed with cheap soap from gas stations. I had exactly $2,800 saved. Every dollar from secret extra jobs. That money had to pay for food, fuel, and my future. I used it carefully, like saving water in a dry place. I ate peanut butter straight from the jar because bread got old too quick. I showered at the neighborhood gym, going early to avoid crowds, so no one would wonder why I was there every day. You might ask why I did not call anyone, why I did not ask family or friends for help. That's what happens when you grow up in a home like mine. When the people raising you see your basic needs as a bother, you learn a strong way to depend only on yourself. Experts call it being too independent, but I call it a hidden trap. It's a cage you make yourself where asking for help feels like losing. I really thought that if I asked for even $1 or showed any weakness, it would prove my mother right. It would mean I could not make it alone. So I went hungry instead of asking. I stayed cold instead of reaching out. That quiet was not real strength. It was from past hurt, a deep fear that my value depended on needing nothing from others. And while I slept in parking lots, washing my hair in sinks, my parents were changing the story. I learned later from a former neighbor that Elizabeth and Robert told everyone I was studying in another country. They could not handle the embarrassment of a daughter who worked with tools, so they made up a fake story about me living abroad. They kept their perfect image while I kept myself safe with locked doors and a sharp tool. But working with oil has a way of staying on you, and soon it became my protection. I got a job sweeping floors at a nearby auto shop. I did not touch the cars. I cleaned up spills, but I watched and learned. When the older man who owned the place, Harold, saw me fixing a part during my break, he did not get mad. He gave me a tool to use. That was the first time an adult saw my dirty hands as something good, not bad. That tool opened everything for me. I stopped being the girl thrown away and became the girl who could repair anything, except the family that raised me. The shop was my safe place, like a special building full of shiny parts, and strong walls were the only things that mattered were power and speed. I was working under a 1967 classic car, my hands deep in the motor, when the feeling in the air changed. It was not a new smell. It was like the room got heavier. I came out from under the car, cleaning my hands on a cloth, and there they were. Robert and Elizabeth stood at the door of Harold's shop, looking out of place like visitors in a rough area. My father wore an expensive suit that cost more than my first few cars together. My mother wore light silk clothes, holding her bag tight as if the dirt in the air might ruin them. They looked perfect and clean, and completely scared of the place I now called home. They did not see me right away. They were asking for the boss, someone who looked neat. When I stood up and dropped the cloth, their eyes turned to me. There was no happiness, no joy at seeing their daughter after 9 years of no contact. Just that same cold judgment. Robert spoke first. "We found you." He said it like I was guilty, as if I had been hiding instead of living openly in the same area for years. "It's time to stop this silly phase. Ashley, we're going out to eat." It was not an invitation. It was an order. Part of me wanted to laugh and tell them to leave before they made the place look bad. But I was curious. I wanted to know why, after 9 years of acting like I did not exist, they showed up at my shop. So I washed my hands hard until they hurt, and I went with them. We sat in a booth at a nice steak restaurant a few blocks away. They ordered drinks. They talked lightly about the weather and the area. It was all fake, like a thin cover over something bad. I did not drink my water. I just waited. Finally, Elizabeth put down her glass. Her hand shook a bit. "We have a problem," she said quietly. "Money has been tight. Your father's money plans did not go well." Robert cleared his throat and looked at his knife. "We have a short-term money shortage. The bank is not being fair. They started the process to take the house." I sat still. The house. The perfect display where they acted happy while I slept in my car. "How much?" I asked. $45,000, Robert said fast, like saying it quick would make it smaller. "Just to pay the late amounts and stop the sale. We need it by Friday." He looked at me then, really looked, and I saw it. He was not asking. He expected it. In his view, nothing had changed. I was still the child. He was the parent. My money, which they once looked down on as dirty work, was now good enough to save them. "Family supports family," Elizabeth added, trying to touch my hand across the table. I moved back before she could. "We knew you would help. We knew you would do what's right." The nerve was amazing. They did not see a successful shop owner. They saw someone to use. They saw an easy way to fix their problems. They truly thought that just talking to me again was worth $45,000. "I'll check on it," I said calmly. They smiled, feeling better and superior. They thought they had won. They thought the money was coming. They had no clue I was not going to help. I was preparing to fight back. I did not go home upset. I went back to the shop. I turned on the bright lights, the steady hum calming me, and opened my computer on the work table next to a car part. My parents thought they gave me bad news. What they really gave me was proof of their problems. And if there's one thing I know, it's how to take things apart to find the damage. I did not just check. I looked deeply. I asked for help from a good customer who works with money records and owns an old car I keep in top shape. I asked him to check all public money info on Robert and Elizabeth, debts, house changes, credit history, anything official. He did not ask why. He just needed their names. While waiting, I searched what I could online. It was not difficult. People like my parents, who care so much about looking good, leave traces everywhere. Old social posts, house records. It was like opening a car hood that looks fine outside but has big problems inside. The report came fast, in a day. Reading it felt like a heavy hit. There was no bad market, no failed plans, just years of spending too much to look rich. They changed the house loan not once, but 3 times. And the timing told everything. The first change was 2 months after they made me leave. While I saved every bit of food and kept a tool for safety, they took $60,000 from the house value. What for? A trip, based on Elizabeth's old posts from that time. They went to France for 3 weeks, enjoying good food and views while I showered at a public place. The second change was 2 years later. That paid for a new fancy car and kitchen updates. The same kitchen where I was not allowed because I might make dirt. They used house money for nice counters and seats, while telling friends how difficult their wild daughter was. It was not just bad choices. It was mean and careless. They spent huge amounts to keep up appearances. Now empty, they wanted me to fill it again. They did not see me as their child. They saw me as a way to get money. I printed all of it, bank papers, house records, social pictures matching the money dates. I put them in a folder strong with tape. It was no longer family memories. It was proof. But the expert found more strange credit checks that did not fit. He said to look at my own credit. I had not checked in years since I pay cash. I logged in and waited. When it loaded, the anger was cold and complete. 7 credit cards opened in my name, all used up fully. The dates matched perfectly. The first one 3 months after they made me leave. When I was choosing between basic needs, they used a card in my name for fancy weekends. They did not just leave me. They hurt my money future to pay for their now. I looked at the list: fancy clothes, club fees, car payments they could not afford. Not for needs, for show. Then it hit me clear. For years, I feared Robert and Elizabeth. I saw them as strong people who decided my value. Their rejection made me feel wrong. But seeing this, they were not strong. They were weak. There's a bad habit when you mix your money with your value. My parents did not have real wealth. They acted it. Their confidence, their control, it was all borrowed. Without fancy things and the big house and looking down on others, they were nothing. It's the mistake of thinking things make you important. When money runs out, you lose everything. You stop being real. You become empty, needing to take from anywhere, even the child you rejected. They were not strong. They were fake, scared people hiding their average lives. Now, without money and in debt, they came not as parents, but as takers looking for new help. I closed the computer. The fear left, replaced by clear determination. I was not facing parents anymore. I was facing thieves who shared my blood. I called the expert again. I see the cards, I said steadily. Anything more? There was a pause, heavy. Ashley, he said gently, one more thing. Not exactly legal, but from what you said about your grandfather, you should see it. He sent a file, a sale paper from 5 years ago. My grandfather did not leave money. He knew they would take it. But he left me his old red tool chest from 1958. It was my happy childhood memory, tied to real work. When he passed, Robert said movers lost it. I mourn it more than anything. But they did not lose it. They sold it for $4,000, worth much more. The date matched their trip pictures from a boat vacation. They traded my grandfather's gift for a nice room and drinks. The card misuse was money harm. This was taking my past. They did not just dislike my job. They took part of who I am. I called the shop, gave the details, described a mark on it. Oh, that one, the man said. We never sold it. Kept it for storage. I'm coming for it, I said. I paid to get it back. Added the paper to the folder. Now ready. The next day, Robert and Elizabeth came to my hot shop, hoping for the money to save their house. Instead, I put the folder on the table. Fraud, loan changes, sale receipt. Page by page, their faces fell. You sold him, I said. You sold the only person who truly cared about me. They pleaded, tried tricks. I stayed firm. I am being kind, I told them. I won't report you. That's my choice. But the house is lost already. Now leave my shop. And they left. Weeks later, the bank took the house. They moved to a small place. Their friends stopped calling. I bought the building for my shop outright. The tool chest is back in its spot. Above it, the framed sale receipt. Not just proof of theft. Proof I got my life back. Family is not just blood. It's people who value you. I made my own from oil, metal, and those who stay. I'm Ashley, an expert mechanic. I built this one part at a time. If you've ever had to remove a bad part to save the whole, share this. You're not alone.